What kind of embarrassment is this?
Yeah, father has really messed up big time.
Some TV characters don't just live on screen. They live in the language and jokes of a whole country. For millions of Kenyans, the name Charity Mwamba immediately conjures a sharp voice, a scolding finger, and a dramatic family showdowns.
What is going on with you two? We have a few things to tell you.
Expect no sympathy.
Don't think you're any special.
I'm sorry. I fell asleep. You're fired.
It's payback time.
I know how we'll teach her a lesson.
Unafikiria sisi hapa tuko na haki? Sisi na buzi ni sawa tu. Maria, usiongee hivyo.
Mother-in-law.
Beside her was the other half of that perfect on-screen marriage, the calm, measured Mzee Mamba.
Since 1970 ulipooa, haujawahi kuwa na uhusiano na mwanamke mwingine wote wa kimapenzi mpaka leo inapokutana nawe.
Kimapenzi hapa
Kabisa.
Hilo swali ni ngumu sana. Lakini ukweli ni kuwa no.
Umetulia tu.
Mimi nimetulia. Niko pale.
But who were these people away from the cameras? How did two actors become the beating heart of one of Kenya's longest-running family drama? Mother-in-Law premiered on Citizen TV in the late 2000s and quickly became a Sunday evening ritual for families across Kenya. The series centers on Mwamba household, a middle-class family whose problems, infidelity, in-law fights, property disputes, and generational conflict somehow felt like our problems. The show framed domestic drama with comedy, and it clicked because its characters were vivid and unapologetic. At the center were two pillars: Charity Mwamba, a matriarch with sharp edges, and her husband, Mzee Mwamba, AD, the patient, dignified patriarch. The actors behind them were Elizabeth Wanjiru, Charity, and Peter Mureithi Maina, Mzee Mwamba. Both of them brought decades of life and craft into those roles, and both helped turn the Mamba family into a national mirror. Elizabeth Wanjiru, who became synonymous with Charity Mwamba, did not start life in front of television cameras. She had a long life before mother-in-law. Born and educated in a generation when access to formal opportunities was narrower, Elizabeth pursued education passionately. She attended Alliance Girls and later studied literature. She spent years as a teacher and school head, shaping young minds before she ever played a mother-in-law on television. That background, the classroom voice, the disciplinary posture, the lived authority, all fed into the performance that will make her famous. Elizabeth's personal life carried dramatic chapters too. She endured a long and public struggle with marriage and family loss. She fought court battles over property, and she has been candid in interviews about the pain of separation and long years of hardship. This real-life resilience is part of what made Charity believable. The stern matriarch had real grief behind the stern face. In interviews, Charity spoke about acting as a rediscovery after retirement, a late flourishing. She said that acting gave her a channel for expression she had not used in teaching career dominated by roles and curriculum. Charity was not a caricature. She was a living, breathing portrait of a Kenyan mother who loved fiercely and sometimes broke the rules to protect her family.
Maria, tunaenda kwa wiki moja tu. Actually only 6 days.
Hivyo nitakuwa hapa peke yangu na kazi yangu sana ni kuangalia buzi.
Nimeongea na akina Sarume. Wakimaliza break yao baada ya wiki moja, na wewe ndio utachukua your off.
So mnatoka saa ngapi?
Ni saa hii tu, hata ndio hawa wanapiga simu.
Peter Mureithi Maina, Mzee Mwamba, carries the kind of career story that reads like a love letter to theater. He began acting as a child, performing in school plays and later in stage productions that shaped the formative years of Kenya's dramatic arts. For decades, he worked in theater and small screen productions, earning respect among peers long before mother-in-law brought his face into millions of living rooms. One of the best behind-the-scenes moments is that Peter's casting in Mother-in-Law had an almost serendipitous beginning. In interviews, he recalls accompanying a friend to auditions and almost by chance being asked to try out and then being picked. That twist of fate launched his most recognizable role and the rest became TV history.
Mwigizaji gani ambaye ukikaa, kwa sababu wewe ni wale ambao mmeanza hii ndio mmefungua milango ya uigizaji. Ni mwigizaji gani ambao ukikaa mahali wanasema kijana ana maisha katika uigizaji? Ama huyo binti ana maisha katika uigizaji?
Kunaye ambaye mimi hutamani sana. Na mimi huona kucheza vizuri sana. Mzee Wangu. Na familia yake. I would say that is my mentor.
Mzee was the foil. When Charity stormed and shook tables, Mzee sat back and offered a single line that cleared the room. That balance, the explosive chemistry, is hard to manufacture. It is a function of experience, deep listening, and mutual respect across actors. Learning the parts was one thing, making them live was another. The casting process for Mother-in-Law pulled from Kenya's rich pool of theatre actors and television veterans. Producers wanted authenticity and comedic timing, not just big names. Elizabeth's classroom authority and Peter's decades on stage created an instant chemistry that writers loved. On set, the pair developed shorthand. If you watch old episodes closely, you will notice tiny gestures, a raised eyebrow from Mzee or a throat clearing from Charity that signal entire emotional beats. Those little choices came from rehearsals, from trust, and from deep understanding of character psychology. Directors often left room in scenes for improvisation. Once the actors found a laugh or a beat that felt true, producers kept it. Despite the storms Charity brought on screen, the set often echoed with laughter. Co-stars remember that the actors left their characters in the wardrobe room. Peter was known to play gentle pranks. Elizabeth would cut loose between takes with a small joke that surprised the younger cast. Those moments, private, human, built the chemistry viewers felt. Actors sometimes blur with their roles, but their off-screen lives are their own. Elizabeth Wanjiru returned many times in interviews to themes of grief, resilience, and teaching. She had a long career in education and a life that involved court fights, laws, and the slow healing of years. Her discipline as an educator helped her manage a high-profile character that demanded both intensity and subtlety. Peter, meanwhile, had decades of performance behind him. Before Mother-in-Law, he performed in plays and was comfortable on stage. The television role reintroduced him to a national audience. He has spoken candidly about the challenges of being a creative in Kenya, the low pay, the inconsistent recognition, and the loneliness that sometimes follows fame. His message in interviews has been clear: celebrate actors while they are alive. Long-running shows evolve. Casts change, life changes. After years of Sunday night dominance, Mother-in-Law continued to influence new storytellers and remind families to laugh at themselves. But what about Elizabeth and Peter? Elizabeth, she continued to give interviews to reflect on the life of a woman who had seen triumphs and losses. Her story, teacher turned actress, inspired many older Kenyans who thought retirement meant quiet days. For Elizabeth, acting became an additional calling later in life. For Peter, he continued to work when opportunities came, mixed theatre and television, and remained an articulate voice for actors' welfare. He has publicly called for better recognition and support for creatives in Kenya.